And this Fox News alert now, the Associated Press is suing the State Department in federal court to try to force the release of government documents and emails from Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. The AP reports this suit comes after several Freedom of Information requests for those documents went unfulfilled. It also comes after Mrs. Clinton finally addressed her use of a personal email account to conduct State Department business. She says she did it because it was convenient. Mrs. Clinton also says she deleted thousands of personal emails and the rest were turned over to the State Department. But the Washington Post writes, Hillary Rodham Clinton sought to quash the controversy over her use of personal email account as Secretary of State with a strategy that can be reduced to 2 words, trust me. It is one of the biggest issues that will confront many Americans if and when she asks them to vote for her for president in 2016. Let's talk about it with Nina Easton, a senior editor and columnist at Fortune magazine and a Fox News contributor. Jamie Weinstein is senior editor at the Daily Caller. Welcome to both of you. To you first, Nina. She spoke for almost half an hour. Some people said when it was all done, they were left with more questions than answers. Did she answer the controversy?
Well, I think you're right, John. I mean, if they thought that this was going to settle the issue, in fact, it kind of inflamed it even more because you learn that she, in fact, deleted 32,000 emails that she deemed personal. And it goes back to that question, trust me, she gets to decide what's personal and what it should be in the public record. So, yeah, I think you're going to see this play out over the many months. The other interesting thing, this AP suit you mentioned, this has actually put her in really bad stead with the media. She's been under fire since this came out, and this will be something that will, again, really hurt her. Not so much, obviously, in the primary campaign, but I think in a general campaign, it will definitely hurt her.
Jamie, there are even some questions that she raised, maybe some inconsistencies about communications with her husband, the former president.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, if I was a Democratic candidate, maybe considering a run for president, but not sure you really want to take on Hillary Clinton because she's a juggernaut, I would be reconsidering everything and getting ready to jump in this race because she did not look like an inevitable candidate. As you mentioned, she raised she had a lot of inconsistent statements that don't appear to be true. She mentioned that these personal emails are between her and her husband, but we knew from last week her husband's spokesman said he only sent 2 emails in his entire life, none since leaving the White House. She said that she wanted for convenience to do this so she could have one phone to do this from. It's not even clear that was necessary, but now we know that she carries 2 phones because she admitted so earlier last month. So a lot of the statements that she made are coming under scrutiny and don't appear to be true, or at least are being scrutinized as questionable. So this did not look like a very good performance, certainly not from someone who's considered an inevitable Democratic nominee.
And Nina, going back to what the Washington Post says, essentially she is saying, trust me, regarding what was in those emails, but she deleted 32,000 that she says were personal. Now, if I write a personal email, I might mention something about my work, if I'm sending it to my family or something like that. How do we know where she draws the line between what's personal and what isn't?
That's right. It's a great question. How does she draw the line? If this also, by the way, merges with the controversy over the Clinton Foundation and the fact that the Clinton Foundation took dollars from foreign governments like the Saudis. So, do those kinds of emails, is that personal or is that private? Or is it public record? If she's talking about the wedding, does she? What if she's talking to somebody who's a guest at a wedding about something that's a public nature? Right. I mean, it does. And again, it goes back to that trust me thing, and it plays into the narrative, and this is important, of the whole Whitewater years in the 1990s when the Rose firm law bills sort of mysteriously showed up in the White House, and the Clintons said, trust me.
I could easily, Jamie, see a situation, okay, I'm being a little facetious here, but I could see a situation where she writes something to Bill like, could you pick up a carton of milk? And, oh, by the way, what should I do about the Benghazi hearings? And all of a sudden that becomes a personal email.
Yeah, and what about the foundation stuff? Is that completely personal? Because that, played directly in a role as Secretary of State. I think the interesting aspect here is that one of the benefits, supposedly, of a Clinton candidacy for the Democrats was that she has already been vetted. She's been in the public sphere for so long. There's nothing new that can come out. And I think this scandal, tied with the foundation stuff, is throwing that narrative entirely out the window. There's so much more to vet here, maybe more than any other candidate who jumped in the race. I think, as I mentioned, if you're a candidate who's considering a run for president or who was considering a run, if I'm Joe Biden, if I'm Elizabeth Warren, I'm giving that look a double check right now and really considering jumping in this race.
And Nina, she says, well, there was no hacking. Everything was secure. How would she know?
Yeah, that's another good question. And again, it goes back to this question. The political question is really interesting because, as Jamie sort of alluded to, we keep thinking that she's inevitable, that she can chart her own territory politically. Well, this past weekend, she came out with the No Ceilings report, the Chelsea Hillary No Ceilings report out of the Clinton Foundation. It was about the status of women globally. And in fact, I covered it. And it was supposed to be sort of a debut, as it were, for her pre-candidacy. It was supposed to solidify her standing as a very important, influential world leader. Well, no one's talking about that. They're talking about the emails right now.
All I heard about all weekend was the emails. That thing you're talking about, news to me and a lot of us. All right, Nina Easton, Jamie Weinstein, we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you.